right now. I mean, I feel like, should we just get rid of the news and bring Jay Leno on?
Yeah,
Let's do it.
yeah.
All right. Where we
Screw the news.
Come on over. Come on, my lord. This is entertainment royalty in the room with us right now. Entertainment royalty.
Talking about Ken?
Yes, talking about Ken.
Ken's on a walk right now.
I don't know what is going on.
Ken is
emo.
on a walk?
I don't know.
Is he emo?
Yeah.
We've been looking
That's
for him.
kind of weird. Ladies and gentlemen, and yes, we'll get another one. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the great Jay Leno.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Jay,
yes.
Are any of your cars here?
No, I've had cars here, but no, none of mine are here now. No.
How many do you have now?
Oh, you sound like my wife. No, honey, I painted it. You remember this. No, I got 208 on the road. It's a little stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you drive them all? I mean,
well, of course. See, of course you drive them all.
That's the point of having them.
Well,
right?
that's the point of having them. Yeah, exactly.
What was the first one that you got?
Well, you mean since I started collecting cars, or was it a kid? I bought a 1932 Packard from Phil Hill. Phil Hill was a Packard mechanic before he was a world champion race car driver, and one of the best mechanics. When he won the world champion, I think he's the only guy never damaged a car, never had an accident, was never injured in a car. He had the greatest mechanical sympathy. He's the kind of guy who could drive around and go, oh, something, I think the left bank is running a little low, or whatever it might be. I get in a car like, what's that flopping noise? Oh, that's a flat tire. Oh, geez. But Phil could act. I mean, so when he raced the car, he could take it right to the limit. Other guys go out, they just manhandle it, and they beat it up, and the clutch blows, the transmission breaks, and they yell at the mechanics. All the mechanics, they all liked Phil because he understood how everything worked. He's quite a guy, and he was a real Renaissance guy. Loved classical music and photography, and he wasn't your typical, womanizing boozer race car driver.
Yeah.
No, he's a great guy.
Guy. And so you bought that Packard, and then you said, "All right, I like this. I'm gonna see how many I can buy."
Well, no, not really. I didn't say, well, I like this. I got to get all the 32 Packards. No, it doesn't work like that. I mean, you sort of learn you make some mistakes along the way, and then you sort of learn, what's desirable. And you have to come to understand that it costs the same to restore a worthless car as it does a valuable car. So a lot of times people put a lot of money into something that's, a four-door Bel Air. Well, that's not the desirable model. So to put 50, 60 grand into that, you're not going to get more than 17 or 18. But if you have the two-door sport model with the 327, that's the one. See, you kind of learn, how to collect them and which way to go.
Who has a better car collection, you or Jerry Seinfeld?
I don't know. I mean, it's different. Jerry is just a Porsche guy. Right. He's got a few other Mercedes. I like anything that rolls, explodes, makes noise. I just. In any other world, you would be a hoarder, Yeah. Like I watch hoarders and I go, well, you still got a path to get to the kitchen. I mean, I don't see what's wrong with the guy. Well, he's crazy. No, but if you're wealthy, you're eccentric, and you like stuff. If you don't have money, then you're a hoarder and get out of the neighborhood.
Yeah.
When you have all those cars, do you have one like your daily car? Your go-to to go to the grocery store?
I've got a Model T, which is the greatest.
You think
car.
Jay Leno goes to the grocery? He probably does.
He strikes me as a grocery store guy.
Yeah.
If you look at my rear end, you can tell I go to the grocery store. Yeah.
What's your favorite car?
My favorite?
Yes.
I don't have a favorite. I wouldn't have all these cars if I had a
All right,
favorite.
so what's a car that you want that you don't have?
Oh, I've kind of got everything. You make mistakes along the way. I remember years ago I looked at a Voisin. Do you know a Voisin? That is that is a French car. But it has what was known as a sleeve valve engine, which is an unusual type of. And they smoke a lot. They just smoke from the factory. But Voisin was a guy who was a contemporary of the Wright brothers, and they used to throw rocks at each other because Voisin said he was the first guy to fly a plane, whereas the Wright brothers, a bunch of guys ran with the plane, threw it, and it literally went 300 feet and landed. Voisin was the first guy to stand next to the plane, pull the propeller, have it fire, get in the car, get in the plane, fly it around, and then land in the same place. So he considered himself the first pilot, whereas the Wright brothers, you know,
But he didn't get the credit for it. The Wright brothers.
Well, he did if you're in France.
Yeah.
You know, when you're American, you think Americans invented everything.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
Well, Ford invented the car. No, we didn't invent the car.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's just that.
Well, Ford invented the assembly line, right? I mean,
No, the assembly line came from the meatpacking industry. Ford went to meatpack and saw the carcasses coming down the line and went, oh, you know, I bet we could do that with machinery. And Ransom E. Olds, the Oldsmobile guy, he was the first guy to have his cars built on assembly line. Ford was just the first one to take it to the literally the next level. You know, just crazy. Yeah.
Who do you think from an America, you brought up America, who's the best American manufacturer right now of automobiles?
You know, they're all pretty good. I mean, the greatest thing that ever happened to Detroit was going bankrupt. Because what you have now is all engineering. You don't have marketing. This is Bob from Whirlpool. He's going to be in charge of our performance division. And they put stripes and mag wheels, but it's nothing special. There's so many cars from the 60s. The Vega GT. Oh, my God, what a nightmare that was, you know. Whereas now, people are a bit more sophisticated, and you have engineers running everything. You know, Mark Royce, the president of GM, he's at Nürburgring almost every weekend, just taking Cadillacs and Corvettes and trying to get the highest speed and the best braking. And so I think American cars are, well, the new ZR1 Corvette, it's 1,064 horsepower, and it's probably $150,000 to $175,000, which is a lot of money.
Yeah.
But when you compare it to the McLaren, the Ferrari of $2.5 million, you know, you could get 10 ZR1s for the price of a Pagani or one of those.
Yeah.
So I think American engineering is really, really good. Ford is good. I think third would be Stellantis, but I think it's between GM and Ford as far as, and that just becomes personal, whatever you like.
Yeah.
Jay, the world of electric vehicles appears to be somewhat slowing. Where do you sit on the future of all of our cars not being gas-powered?
Well, you know, it's like smoking. You don't outlaw it. You like to say we're banning internal. You just see where the market goes. Okay, now it is no longer acceptable to smoke. I see people in the old days. Ooh, it's very sexy. There's cigarette smoke. And now you go, look at that. I don't want to kiss that ashtray. You know what I mean? So it's the same sort of thing. I mean, if you're not a person who's a car person, electric is the best thing ever. You plug it in every night. You got a full tank every morning. I mean, I have a Tesla, and it cost me, I think, $13 to fill it with almost $300 worth of, quote, fuel. And a gas car, that'd be $100 or $80. Yeah. When I have to go to the airport or run into town, if I'm going to go to Vegas, I'm probably not going to take an electric car because I don't want to take the chance of, although the supercharging stations are pretty good, it's still 45 minutes you got to wait. So I would take a gas car. But I think that you can have both. That's what's great about America. You know, I want to exercise, but I also like to smoke. What's like, you know? So,
it's by the way, it's jarring when you look back at old Tonight Show stuff and you see Johnny Carson smoking.
Oh yeah, Johnny.
Like
come back from commercial. Cigarette. Yeah.
It's pretty wild.
Oh yeah.
Are you? Is it weird to you that like I was thinking about having you on and the monologue? You know, your monologue used to be what everybody would talk about. It's the way people consume entertainment and content has changed so much.
Not really. What's changed?
It's not like people wait up at 11:30 to watch the Tonight Show.
Oh no, but people used to
different. People used to do that. Like it was.
Well, you used to have appointment television.
Yeah.
First of all, you had people sitting in an empty room. Then the radio came in. Oh, you have music anytime you want. Isn't that pretty good?
Yeah.
You know, and then television. Well, can you be home at 9 o'clock? Yeah, that's not a big deal. You know, so yeah, it's progress, but it's basically the same.
But I say it to these youngins that I work with, and I say, you if you wanted to watch Jay Leno on the Tonight Show, you had to be up at 11:30 to watch it.
Well, for the last 20 years, you had VCRs and various recording devices. You could set your timer to watch it when you wanted from about mid-'80s to now, so it's not that big a deal.
Yeah.
Do you feel like, Jay, there's because I was at the event last night, I can't remember who said it, like a lot of younger people getting into the cars. Do you feel like you're starting to see that more of a movement now because you're seeing all these unique cars that are coming out, whether it's like, you know, when you start to look at some of these Bugattis and some of these fancier cars, the Dodge SRTs, the Challengers, the Hellcats. You feel like you're starting to see younger people now get into
no, I think it's the exact opposite, actually. Yeah.
Really?
Younger people now that I talk to teenagers, I'll probably get my license when I'm 21 or 22. I was one of those people, I was 15 and a half at the DMV waiting for the clock to, okay, come get my license now. But kids don't really want to drive it. See, now, in my day, you had to go places in reality. Mm-hmm. Now you go places virtually. Like when I was a kid, you couldn't get a naked picture while you're sitting at home. Someone texting you. Maybe you had to get a camera to take a picture.
Polaroid.
Find a drugstore that didn't know your parents to develop the film. You know, you go like 2 towns over to Boxford. You know, go to that guy. He doesn't know me. But you develop these pictures, and he gets the picture back, and they would have all the good parts would be covered with the. Somebody else would censor the picture. Hilarious. But that's what it is now. You don't. Yeah. You know, when I was a kid, you
in Andover, right? You grew up
in Andover. Hilarious, yeah.
You had to go to the photomat to get your nudes processed.
No, not until you went to the drugstore. The photomat came later. That was a little fancy.
Much more effort for an unsolicited D-pic back then.
Exactly.
Jay, being from Andover, why are so many of the best comedians from the Northeast? What is it about growing up
It's
here?
just this is like the funniest place in the world to me. I remember when Dukakis was running for president back in the 80s. There was no nationwide seatbelt law. So he said Massachusetts should have a seatbelt law. And there were people selling T-shirts that had a fake seatbelt on them. So you'd buy the T-shirt and you drive, and if a cop saw you, it looked like you had a seatbelt on. And it said, "Protect freedom." And I was like, really? Really? Oh, that quirky New England, it just makes me laugh. It's just like the funniest place. Yeah.
Now we do that with the HOV lane. We put a baseball hat on the headrest.
Yeah, you get a dummy to ride it. You just go to any extent, hilarious.
Do you?
But it really did. I mean, the Boston comedy scene. I always recommend it, but the film or documentary when stand up stood out. Yeah. Kind of tells that whole story of you and Dennis.
I never heard of that. What film?
You haven't? Oh, it's great. It's about the ding ho and.
Well, I was working. I tell you, I was working. Here's your typical Boston story. It was the Comedy Connection, whatever it was.
Yeah.
It was upstairs. So I go on stage, and people are being seated while you're working. That's okay. And I hear it's kind of, hey, get on in front of a pole. Just sit down. Shut up. So they put this guy in front of a pole. He said nothing but complain. So I'm going along, and then I hear, what's that? And they drag the guy out. And I go, so I have to come off stage. What was that all about? The guy was making a big fuss because he's in front of the pole. What happened? Billy stabbed him. Billy stabbed him in the leg.
Was that Billy Downs?
Pulled him out, gave him $20, put him in a cab, and sent him away. So I was like, really? Okay. Yeah. So, 3 months later, I get a call from the comedy. Hey, Jay, remember Billy? Remember the bouncer that helped you? What do you mean? Remember that guy was talking while you're on stage when Billy stabbed him? I said, that didn't really help me. He said, well, anyway, he helped you. What's the problem? He goes, well, Billy killed a guy. Now the cops are hassling him. And I remember saying to him, gee, you think the cops would go after real criminals instead of guys like Billy? And the guy goes, yeah, I know, right. That's what I'm saying. I didn't see the irony in what I was talking about. Yeah, so that's what I loved about the Boston comedy. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah. Do you have time? I got to take a quick break.
I'm here. Where am I going?
All right, good. Because we're going to talk to Nick. You brought Nick with you. He's the chairman. We were at Wiggy brought up his place. We were at your house yesterday. One of them or whatever, kind of a fixer-upper. Is that the place that we were at?
It's a fixer-upper.
Fixer-upper, yeah. Needs a little work. That's your guest mansion that we were at yesterday.
See, that's the classic New England. What do you got, some fancy place? This I love. There's nothing more Boston than that. What do you go to Harvard? What do you have it?
What are you, rich?
Wait, think you're better than that Catholic school that you think? What do you got, a fixer-upper house there?
All right.
I love it. It's great. Just that Boston. It's great.
It's great. You miss it.
Yeah, I do miss it. It just makes me laugh. It's just the funniest thing. I mean, when I lived in Andover, the guy a couple doors down from me, he heated his house with wood. He had a pump in the kitchen that went to a well because he wasn't going to pay taxes. I'm going to pay for the city water. I get my own water here. You know, it's like so much effort. What are you doing? But just think, you're hilarious. It's nothing more New England than that.
It's massholes.
Yeah,
that's what we are.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah. And proud of it.
And proud of it.
Yeah.
All right. Jay Leno is here. We'll come back. We'll talk about what's going on today. We are in Newport with Jay Leno at the Audrain Automobile Museum and Jay's friend Nick Schorsch, who is the chairman here at Audrain.
Well, not just the chairman. He's the guy that funds this whole thing.
He pays for the whole thing?
Well, you know,
that's the Boston way to say it.
Yeah, he's paying for the whole thing. Hey, shut up. Paying for the whole. No, but he's a real enthusiast. It's not. It's supposed to be a money-making proposition, but I don't think it does because a lot of the exhibits are free and kids can walk through and go.
Yeah.
So he really is an enthusiast. I think that's why the museum is so successful because it attracts other enthusiasts. You know.
Yeah.
You know, he does a great job. It's really a class. It's hard to put one of these on because everybody's so suspicious. You know.
Yeah.
I wanted to tell you, I got the ultimate Boston compliment. This is. Only in Boston you get this compliment.
Yeah.
I meet a guy, I go, hey, Jay Leno, how you doing? Hey, my friend met you in California. He said you're not an a-hole. I said, oh, well, thank you. He goes, no, really, he did. I said, well, thank you, man, I appreciate it. No, he said that. I said, well, thank you. And that's about as good as you're going to get.
That's what you'll get. Yeah, that's what you'll get. Well, this is it's an extraordinary place, so congratulations.
Yeah, it's a wonderful place.
And yeah. And
well, the cool thing about it is, if you're not a car enthusiast, the wife's going, we got another car thing. I mean, you're in Newport. There's stuff to do.
Yeah.
There's the mansions. There's the house tours. So there's all kinds of things here. You can bring the whole family down, and people can do what they want.
I was told by the guy who drove us over here today that you have a little shack here as well.
I do. I have a little shack. That's right. Yeah.
How much time do you spend at that shack?
Well, not a whole lot. But,
it's one of many.
Yeah.
But, no, not many. Really, but I like New England. Like I say, it just makes me laugh. It's just such a funny. Everybody's suspicious. Is he like a Hollywood jerk or what? You know, you have to kind of ease into it. You can't come here with attitude.
You were telling us during the break what you thought the most Boston scene ever in a film was.
Well, actually, the greatest film about Boston is Good Will Hunting.
Yes.
Yep. You got a guy who's an intellectual, but just doesn't want to. Is embarrassed by it.
Hates himself.
You know, he's got the roots. Because you have an intellectual entity. You got Cambridge, you got Harvard, you got MIT, and then you got everybody else. And the two of them, it's such a clash of cultures. And that's what makes it fun here. I really enjoy it, yeah.
But the scene you mentioned during the break, the most Boston scene ever was from Ted.
Ted. Yeah, well, Ted. Yeah. But that's just because the Boston accent to the rest of the world is the most grating accent. It just makes me laugh, you know. Well, I mentioned it before. And Ted, this beautiful woman walks in, very French, and she's got some expensive gown from one of the couture houses, you know. And she's like, what do you? I can't.
You can't use the word. You can't use the word, but
can't use the word.
Yes. Is that weird to you? But like, do you think would it be tough to you? I know you do stand up every once in a while still, but would it be tough for you to do the Tonight stuff that you did on the Tonight Show now, or stuff that you did on stage because of the environment and the?
You know something, please. Funny is fun. If it's really funny, all bets are off. Because you hear a joke about a quote, a taboo subject. If it's really funny, you go, that's really funny. A lot of times it's just not funny. It's just it's more mean spirit. It's more, and you know, you go. It's like when I was a kid, women drivers were every comedian's basis for their act at some point. Yeah. And at some point, women just go, okay, now you've lost half the audience. Okay, so it's like smoking. It becomes acceptable, not acceptable. Racial jokes is common you know, people, oh, Bob didn't mind. Oh, yeah, they mind. Everybody didn't mind. You know, oh, he didn't mind being a slave. No, of course not. You know, I mean, but I mean, so I mean, ultimately, it's for the good. Does it swing sometimes too far to one way or the other? Yeah, but that's America, and it comes back to normal. You know?
Yeah. Who do you think is funny? Like now, stand up.
You know something? It's such a hard business. Anybody that's making a living, I like. Anybody who writes their own material is not stealing jokes. I mean, there's different kinds of humor. It's like rap music and rock and roll. They're both music. It's music. It's not like I hate rap. Well, I'm sorry, but it's just as you know, valued as your whatever you like.
Dave Chappelle. I like Dave Chappelle. Eddie Murphy said he's going to do another tour. Do you think he'll ever do one?
You know, it's really hard because you can't leave comedy. If you leave, it's almost impossible to come back because Eddie hasn't been around doing stand-up for a long time. And then you show up somewhere to rehearse or practice. Oh, you sucked. Well, yeah, it takes a long time to get. You need a joke
back into the
every 6 to 9 seconds. You need a joke every 6 to 9 seconds. Just to keep it moving. It's like spinning plates on the Sullivan Show. You just got to keep it on. And to build up an act, because Eddie came back. Oh, I bet he's 10 times funnier than he was when I saw him. Well, no, it doesn't work that way.
Right.
Did you think the Brady roast was funny?
No. Oh. I mean, I thought you know, Nikki Glaser was great.
Great.
Because she was dirty, but funny.
Yeah.
You go, okay, all bets off. Everybody else seemed to be using obscenities and so just for the sake of using obscenities. And that's why people demand, they go, well, that's why you. No, I thought Nikki Glaser was great. And she was as inappropriate as anybody, but it was funny.
Yeah.
Everybody else just using the F word and, you know, just doing jokes about Brady's kids. And I got to admit, I didn't like it.
Well, she's a comedian. You can't have former athletes trying to go up there and get in a world that they don't know nothing about.
Right. I get that.
There are other comedians, though.
Yeah, man. Yeah. You know, you got Gronk up there trying to tell jokes. No, stick to the football.
I'm curious, Jay, that, you know, you talk a lot about coming back here.
Yeah.
What was the culture shock for you being from Andover to the total opposite in the West Coast? I find it very unsettling out there. It's just people are nice.
Well, it's just that. Well, the beach is on the wrong side, which screws you up for the keep walking into the town. No, the beach is that way. You know, that part is it. But just like growing up in Boston, people are, Jay, this is my parents, Bob and Agnes. Now, how are you, Mr. and Mrs. Minicelli? Nice to meet you. I don't. People would introduce their parents by their first names.
Yeah.
And I would meet like grown men that played video games. My dad never played even. What a video game? What the hell is this crap? You know, but you see guys 50 years old waiting for, you got the new Fortnite? You know.
Ooh, Shine. That's a shot at you.
Yeah. Hilarious. Just funny.
Yeah.
That's Merrimack Valley, though, too. That no video games for an older generation.
Well, yeah, it just my dad did dad stuff, cut the lawn, fix the house, you know, whatever.
What did your dad do for work?
My dad sold insurance, but my dad was a prize fighter.
Oh, wow.
That's what he did early. But then he told me he quit that because I thought this was pretty good. He said the reason he quit fighting was even on his best day at work, he still got punched in the face. So, you know, imagine going to work every day and you still get punched in the face. Every day. He said, no more of that. So he sold insurance.
Nick, what's your favorite vehicle that we see here today?
Actually, it's the white one here behind us.
Okay. Courtney loves that one.
That was my favorite.
It did so much. I mean, you have to realize that this, and Jay drives all these cars better than I do because he understands every little valve. But this car is 40 horsepower, which is about 500 horsepower in a today car.
Yeah.
It probably weighs, I don't know, Jay, 1,000 pounds. The Pinard.
Yeah, probably something like
and
that.
It was built for racing. So when they went out racing in it, it went from New York to Albany and actually made it. And you didn't have a mechanic or anything, so you had to jump off and change your tire. Or if you had, and you have to keep pumping the fuel to keep the pressure up.
Yeah.
I mean, you're actually part of the whole rhythm of that car when you drive it. So
See,
I drove it.
Cars have always been fast. The thing that's been improved stopping and going around corners. You know, people just keep going, bang, and you hit a tree. You know, they only had brakes on the rear wheels. You know, all kinds of things.
No seatbelts.
Yeah, right.
So you had to actually.
But you also tell people like, what's your favorite car? If you can only have one car, well, it's not communist China. I can have as many cars as I want. No, you only have one. Who said I can only have one? That's New England when you.
Yes, 100%.
But this car is a piece of work to drive. It's fun. Unfortunately, it's not easy. But the funniest thing is if you drive this down the street, which we did during our veteran tour, we take these out every year, and we have old cars pre-1907. It's called a veteran car tour, like they do in England, which is called the London to Brighton race. We go Bristol to Newport, and the American version. And it's amazing to see how many people come out to see these cars. The streets are lined up, and you could be driving a Lamborghini with pink polka dots and lit up on the bottom and a wing on the back and making a lot of noise. Nobody cares.
And this Mercedes, this is a $14 million automobile right here?
Probably, maybe 20.
Maybe 20. Yeah.
It's a very unusual car.
Heard a story about how Mercedes got its name.
Well, actually, it was a Benz, and there was a French car salesman named Emile Jelnik. He had a hard time selling German cars in France. Gee, I wonder why. The only people ever marched through the Arc de Triomphe were the Germans. Hey. The French never used it. We got no triumphs. Twice, World War I, World War II. So Jelnik said, I'll tell you what, I'll buy a bunch of Benzes if you let me name them after my daughter Mercedes, because that was a name that was pleasant and it didn't connotate war or anything like that. So then he had a picture of his daughter on the car. And so he said, okay, you can call your car Mercedes, because Benz just wanted to sell cars. So you can sell them in France. So it became Mercedes. It became so popular, eventually by 1924, they merged and became Mercedes-Benz. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Amazing.
Yeah.
See, wealth of knowledge. Can we have a round of applause for Jay?
Useless knowledge. Thank you.
All right.
When he's smart, when he go to school?
Craig,
I think you're smart, eh?
I know we don't have much time, and I know you don't like, you want to own a million cars, but if you had to pick,
I rest my case.
if you had to pick one,
that's Wiggy.
Yes. If you had to pick one decade,
he doesn't have to. The man can own every car.
I know that, but
literally just
gun to your head, you got to pick a decade of what?
Oh, a decade?
Yeah, like what decade?
Oh, probably the 60s, because I grew up in the 60s and that, the GTOs and the Cobras.
Okay.
See, the greatest year for me was 1966, because that was the last year you could design any car you wanted. By 67, bumpers, crash standards. You had to meet a certain standard. When you had a car like a Lamborghini Miura, you can never produce that today. It's just a death trap.
Yeah.
But the idea was, it was cool and it looked good.
Yeah.
That was the only car. Had to be cool and look good.
So you could make any car, put any engine in it. The safety standards were.
There really were no safety standards. Remember, there were no seatbelts. Remember, people wanted to be thrown clear. I want to be thrown clear in case of an accident. Like the seatbelt. They're making me wear a seatbelt.
Yeah. What was the when I was younger? Was it the Corvair that exploded whenever anybody hit the?
No, the Corvair.
That's Ralph Nader.
Explode.
He just made that up.
Ralph Nader made that up.
No. The Pinto was the one that.
The Ford Pinto.
The Ford Pinto.
The Corvair was unsafe by Ralph Nader. He had a whole book of the most unsafe cars.
Yeah.
We've attempted to buy every one.
Yeah.
And we now have every one of the Ralph Nader haters.
You do?
In the collection, yeah. Just because the Corvair is an amazing car. It was designed to be a Porsche killer.
Yeah.
It's a good thing, because good things came out of Ralph Nader too. I mean, you had safety standards, so it's a little bit of both. You got to take the good with the bad. Everything's never one thing or the other.
Nick? What's your favorite car in the collection other than that one? What's
in this?
What's your favorite? Yeah. What's the number one?
Actually, it's the Assetto Vercini over here, the black one.
Yeah.
It just came back from going through Europe and going to Concourse.
Let's see if he was paying attention. Repeat the car that he just said.
Assetto Vercini.
Okay.
Go. It's the black one over there. But
Neo Parmesan was the car.
It's kind of a German. No, it's an Italian Cadillac at the time. Yeah. So it's a very finely built car. Drives great. Drove it around the craziest cities, Lugano, Lake Como, these little tiny roads, Roman roads. The car was great. You took it out on the highway.
Here's Boston for you. My dad used to call the Cadillac the Rolls Royce of automobiles. I go, Pop, it can't be the Rolls Royce of automobiles. The Rolls Royce. No, but the Cadillac, it's the Rolls Royce of cars. No, it's the Rolls Royce is the Rolls Royce of cars. You never get through his head.
My dream car was there last night, the Bronco. Are those safe?
The new ones, maybe.
Okay.
Not the old ones.
Yeah,
That
the new
is my
ones are
dream
safer.
car.
Yeah, but I mean, you're sitting there, you got a steering column aimed directly at your chest. You know, there's no airbag, there's no nothing. I mean, cars are pretty. I see cars now on the highway, crushed up at a ball. Dad, can you come get me? The car got wrecked. You know, when I was a kid, 15 miles an hour, you hit a tree, you were dead. I mean, literally. Parking accidents. People, you know, boom. But now, I mean, people roll cars. And
they walk away from
it's
it.
pretty
If
amazing.
you drive a new Bronco today, it's a very fine car.
Yeah, I love those.
And if you buy the sport one, it's a little rough.
And I always tell people, if you've got a teenager that's learning to drive, don't get them anything pre-2016 because you're not going to have the safety thing. You're not going to have the airbag. I know somebody go, I want to get my kid a '65 Mustang. Well, it's a death trap. I mean, it's a wonderful car, and if you're mature enough to understand it, but you're not going to get any.
I was talking about that car the other day. I had that car. I had a '66 Mustang.
Yeah.
Awesome car.
You got to hold on to it. See?
289 V8.
Right, there you go. That makes it even more dangerous.
Was that your
It was. I wrecked it. I hit it in a snowstorm. The back slid on me when I was in high school.
I rest my case. Thanks very much.
Do you have 10 more minutes? I
got 10 minutes.
Do you want Jay for another 10 minutes? Entertainment royalty.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.
What are you, California now? How you think you got your fruits and your nuts out there,
Museum,
right?
And it is Audrain, Newport, Concourse Motor Week. Jay Leno is with us.
Thank you. I got another Boston thing that happened there.
Oh, what happened?
I'm sitting at Logan Airport, right? I'm sitting there, you know, and people come over, can I have an autograph? Oh, yeah, sure. Hey, how you doing? Take a picture. I see this guy watching me, sitting like this. And the guy goes, hey. Okay, how you doing? He goes, hey, I don't want your autograph. But I'll bet that pisses you off. Huh? I go, no. I said, sir, I'm fine. He goes, no, I get that makes you mad. Huh? No, it doesn't, sir. I'm just sitting here. If people want something, I'll sign it or take a picture. He goes, yeah, well, I don't want it. I go, fine. It's fine, sir. the guy just, I go, do you want to fight?
He wanted to fight you.
I was supposed to fight him?
He wanted to fight you.
Yeah, I don't want your autograph. I bet that pisses you. Like I'm going to go, They're hilarious.
You do seem, for as long as you've been in this business, you seem way too nice.
Yeah, he is really nice.
I have to tell you that.
Well, that's very nice.
Yeah. Like people asking him for his autograph, and he's like, I'd be on it. I said to him off air, I said, you are actually a nice guy.
No, it just makes me laugh.
Yeah.
I'm a huge believer in low self-esteem. That's the key.
Yeah, you have to.
No, it's true. If you don't think you're the smartest person in the room, you listen.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, so many people. There's 4,000 recorded geniuses. I think 3,900 of them live in Hollywood. You know,
Yeah.
I always meet guys. He's a genius. But his screenplay was too good. No, it wasn't too. If it was too good, they would have bought it. Okay?
It would be a movie.
Yeah, you have these kind of arguments with people.
Yeah.
No, it's not good enough. You know, people go, that joke worked 3 years ago. Yeah, but it hasn't worked since. Okay, don't keep doing it. You know,
Yeah.
It's not a great joke.
But you keep doing stuff. I assume it's because you love it. Like you.
Oh, I love telling jokes. Yeah, I've had real jobs. They suck.
Yeah, real jobs do suck. Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. So a bunch of events going. We want to thank you guys for having us here. It's and we would round. Thanks to you guys for being here. Nick, thanks for having us here.
Thank you.
It's all Nick. This is Nick's whole deal here.
And there's events that you can go to all weekend long, right?
Starting at about 11 o'clock, the gathering begins, and the Tennis Hall of Fame is open. And the most important thing when we did this was, unlike a lot of other car events, everything is within 1.25 miles on Bellevue Avenue. So all the houses are real. This is a regular street, and the trolleys run back and forth. And most of the events are free.
Yeah.
The gathering, there is a charge because it comes with food and everything else. But it's kind of a party on the lawn at Doris Duke's house, a rough point at the very end.
Yes.
And the view is unbelievable.
Yes.
You can actually see Jay's house around the corner.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh.
The cool thing about being...
Does Jay have a fixer-upper here?
Yeah,
He has a big...
he'll fix it.
It's a fixer-upper.
Yeah.
Well, like you go to California, you meet a couple of guys that each have 100 cars. You come here, you meet 100 guys that each have one car. No, but that I mean, I meet a lot of guys that they had a GTO in high school. Then the kids were born, they sat in the garage, and then as soon as the kids graduate college, they're going to go back and restore it. Yeah. You know, in California, you just give it to the guy and he fixes it and you get it back. It's all done. You know, here you meet a lot of people that do their own work, and they're nice cars not owned by rich people. You know? I mean, you got a guy that's using, just painting in his garage and sanding and painting. I mean, that's what I like. That's what's fun about this. So,
yeah. Well, you were saying that last night or at the event yesterday, just about the fact that you guys, one of your intentions is to get younger people into collecting automobiles.
Well, that's the
collecting
thing.
And automobile.
Well, we started something called 30 under 30. If you're 30 years or younger and you have to spend less than $30,000 restoring your car yourself, we invite you to come down and show it. And these kids come down and they got their Chevy C10 truck or their Carmen gear on the lawn next to Ferraris and Bugattis, and the mother's not crying anymore because her son's a mechanic. I was so ashamed. I mean, because a lot of these kids, they go to work for a Mercedes Classic or Jaguar Classic. They make $100 an hour, $150 an hour restoring cars. It's like restoring old paintings now. Cars have become kinetic artwork as opposed to just an old car.
Yeah.
So you get these young people, and they're just excited about different cars. It's like rock and roll and rap. I had a kid saying, "Oh, Mr. Leno, I like antique cars." I said, "Do you have any?" He goes, "Okay, yeah, what do you got?" He goes, "A 91 Miata." I go, "Well, that's not really an antique." Well, he was born in 90, so that's an antique.
Yeah.
It's just something different than what I grew up with, but it's still the same thing.
Speaking of, you bring up rock and roll. Did you open on tour for Aerosmith? Did you open for?
I played with Aerosmith when they played the Grange Hall in North Andover.
Wow.
What year was that?
1971. Yeah. Steve and those guys. Yeah.
So was it like half fans that were there for comedy and half for the rock and roll? Was it the same audience?
Well, it was a rock band. Yeah, I mean, it was different. You got to remember, back in the late '60s, early '70s, nobody did concerts. You went to Lenny's on the Turnpike and you played there I opened for Miles Davis there. Miles Davis and all these guys. They would come into town for a week, and you do 250 people for 7 nights, as opposed to one night for 3,500 people. And which was kind of fun because you get to know the acts and they would get to know the crowd, and it was a fun time. Yeah, but I knew Stephen when he was there. Hilarious.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Hey, well, Greg, I just wanted to tell you one thing about the event. Speaking of working with your hands, Rod Emery, who is one of the greatest restorers, and he is the creator of the outlaw Porsche, and he has behind us in the Tennis Hall of Fame today is all about Emery cars. There's about 40 Emery cars that they've built by hands. Most of them were people said they were taking beautiful Porsches and ruining them. They weren't. They were taking absolute wrecks, and they were restoring them to a very high level and then modifying them, putting disc brakes on them. No seatbelts, no, but they put disc brakes. They put fast engines.
Yeah,
they're amazing.
Are they
vehicles.
electric though?
No. They call them outlaws because you take a Porsche, which is, if you're a Porsche enthusiast, especially in the 50s, you had the string back gloves, you had the little hat, and you sort of, it's German, you don't touch anything, you keep it exactly the way it was.
Yeah.
But Porsches are valuable, but not rare. But he would take Porsches, make hot rods out of them. And so the Porsche community, we don't want to associate with those people because they're with the hot rod crowd, know. So it's like when you go to L.A. and you got pizza with pineapple on it, Okay, to me it's heresy, but but okay.
Best pizza in Massachusetts.
Whatever you want.
Where would you?
Oh, downtown Maria's. Is that Maria's?
Yes.
Yeah, very good.
Okay, Maria's.
Yeah.
Well, Jay Leno, a round of applause for Jay, for Nick for hosting us.
Thank you. What do you put pineapple on your pizza hat? What do you out there with the fruits and the nuts in California? Huh? Yeah, that's it.
I mean, one last one for me. If you could only own one vehicle.
Only own one vehicle.
Just one. All right, Jay, you're the best.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having us. Come down to the Audrain.
Yeah, come down, hang out. Jay will be here all weekend. We will be as well, and we got to get to Courtney into what is trending.